Hello, WiCCD members. My name is Maya-Josee, and I am WiCCD's Education Committee Director. I'm happy to introduce our series, Finding Your Niche. In this series, we will interview female criminal defense lawyers who practice in a specific area within criminal law. The goal of our series is to highlight the work and accomplishments of female criminal defense lawyers, but it is also a way for us to introduce you to specialty areas within criminal law. We hope we can help you find your niche. Enjoy the series.
Bonjour, Marie-Josée. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on this program with you.
My pleasure. It's very nice to see you, and it's very nice to see you because I used to see you a lot more often pre-COVID days, but now
I know.
more virtual.
I think we miss a lot of people. I mean, it's great to be able to say that we're working from the comfort of our pajama bottoms and proper top attire, but I really do miss going to the courthouse and seeing people every day.
I know. But, hopefully these series are helping us get to know a bit more about each other and connect in a way. So I'm very glad that you're here with me today. Can you just tell us, Marie-Josée, more about who you are, where do you practice, and what kind of cases do you take on in your practice?
Absolutely. So I have now been practicing for I've already graduated my 24th year. So I'm in my 24th year of practice.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I thought people were old when they celebrated 20 years. And I just said 24, so I think I'm going to stop counting. So I do exclusively criminal law. My office, I'm in a very unique situation. So I'm in the Ottawa-Gatineau area. So when you're bilingual and you work in the Outaouais in Ottawa-Gatineau, it's really important to have both barreaux, both bars. So I have a member of the Bar of Ontario, and I'm also Barreau du Québec, Quebec Bar. And the reason I did that is very interesting because for so many years, I came along the situations where my clients would steal the car in like close to Maniwaki, Quebec, and then there'd be a high-speed chase across the border into Ontario, and then they'd get arrested in the Hawkesbury area.
Right.
So not only was I dealing with like charges from the Quebec side and then I'd be charging from the Ontario side, I wasn't able to go across. And then I realized, you know what, if you're going to be practicing here, the best is to have both bars.
Right.
So that I can properly serve the clients in both jurisdictions. And we do a lot of interprovincial transfers because of that.
And you are right. I mean, this is a very unique situation in the Ottawa or the Gatineau and Ottawa area because there is a lot of mobility between
Absolutely. You can go east-west, but here you're just going north-south. So it's a situation that happens. And the other issue that I saw a lot is that a lot of my clients were being gated because they would be charged in Ontario, they do their time, they would think, oh my gosh, I'm being released on Friday, and then someone knocks on their door, sorry, sir,
you have to go.
Being released. Gatineau police are here to pick you up because you've got charges on the other side of the border. So this is how my work really works a lot, is to help people with both issues on both sides of the both sides of the fence, if you want to put. I'm also a member of the Nunavut Bar, and I've been a member of the Nunavut Bar since 2016. What else do I do? I'm the teacher of the law practice program for the French law practice program, the new articles, so actually not really new anymore, but the so that's the type of work that I do.
Can you just tell us maybe a bit more about, because it's very interesting that here you're a member. So first of all, are you a full member of each one of these three bars, Ontario, Quebec, and Nunavut, or do you have limited practices in each one of them?
Well, that's right. So I became a member. I was first called to the bar in Ontario. So a member of this bar. And after 10 years, that's when I realized something needed to be done because I kept on requesting just special permissions. And I had my colleague who did all of, who was at the time, who was a member of the Quebec bar. So I would transfer those files to him. But after a while, in order to keep the files, I became a Canadian legal counsel for Quebec.
Okay.
So I pay the full fees. I am a member of the Barreau de Québec, but as a legal counsel. And anyone can become a legal counsel of any province or territory. If they do a specific, they have to meet certain requirements. So it's sort of like a limited practice, if you want to put it that way. So we pay full fees as a full member, but I'm limited in what I can do in Quebec, and all I'm allowed to do is matters of federal jurisdiction. So I can do criminal law, which is really the only thing I do. I'm also allowed to do immigration. I'm allowed to do CDSA, drugs, drug matters. So it meets my needs. So I didn't have to go back to school. I didn't have to write the big, those amazing exams, which I can guarantee you I would not have passed 10 years after becoming a lawyer.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody can pass the bar exams anymore. So that's what I am, as a Canadian legal counsel for Quebec. And that's all I need in order to have a full criminal law practice. With respect to Nunavut, I'm a full member, like a full member of the Nunavut bar. And there's a specific request. If you are a member of a bar of any provinces in Ontario, then all you need to do is you, at the time, have to undertake to have read every piece of legislation, undertake that you have read them, meet specific standardized requirements, and then you're a member of the Nunavut bar.
Okay, and on the Canadian Legal Counsel status for Quebec, so you didn't have to write the licensing exam or examen du barreau du Québec. From what I understand, from what you just said, you didn't have to do that. But so, is there a fee to attain that status?
A fee?
Yeah, like I mean, do you have to pay, or like a
well,
special permit? I think you have to pay, right? Like if you
So
want.
that's right. So at the time, again, that's almost, it's more
Yeah.
than 10 years now that I've been a member of Canadian Legal Counsel. I don't know if it had changed, but it was more of an administrative
Okay.
request to become member of the bar. It did take me close to a year to meet all the requirements. Then you needed to demonstrate, prove certain aspects of your past. You have to be a member of good standing of the Ontario bar. Every year I have to send them documentation that I am still a member of good standing, and pay my full fees as a regular member of the Quebec bar. Other than that,
Okay. All right, and so you pay the full fees, and so I guess you have to do the CPDs as well for.
Oh,
So
we
tell
can't.
us a bit.
Nobody can run away from the CPDs.
Yeah.
So the way it works, so it's like a nightmare. So once a year, I put in my time for the Ontario, or now I'm getting better. I think I do it all the time, every time I do one. But then I have to keep a copy of that, and then I have to enter it on the Barreau de Québec. So then I have to keep a copy of that, and then I have to enter it for the Nunavut bar. And they all have different deadlines. So I'm almost continuously having to take everything out and put everything in to meet the deadlines. It's quite funny, actually. It's my nightmare. It's like, I think I suffer from trauma from having to put in all my CPD hours, but I joke it, but it's just a matter of transferring them, and it's usually accepted.
Okay.
Yeah, and especially the only thing that's different now is in Quebec, you also have to do the inclusion, diversity, the EDI.
Oh, ADI, yeah, just
So
like
now
in Ontario.
Yeah, so now that's new in Quebec. So now I have to see if they'll accept the Ontario ones. If not, then have to do an extra 3 hours on the Quebec side. So
And are the hours the same, Marie-Josée? Like we know in Ontario, it's the 12 hours that are divided between professionalism, substantive, and ADI. But is it the same in Quebec, or do you have or Nunavut, or do you have to do more hours?
no, Quebec wants you to log in everything. They want 30 hours every 2 years.
Every 2 years, okay.
As of April 1st. So every 2 years I have to make sure. And then Nunavut is, I think, December. I think Nunavut is either 10 or 12 or 15. I'm just not remembering, but they're all about the same.
Okay, and so you're able to enter your Ontario CPDs and use them for the other provinces. Okay, so you don't have to do more.
Oh, no, I don't. Oh gosh, no.
Good.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Okay, so that's very interesting. So you're a member of 3 bars.
Yeah.
And okay, I guess that between Quebec and Ontario, it's fair to say that you have many of you're going to have a lot of cases in these two jurisdictions, but you have a lot of cases as well in Nunavut, or less.
Yeah, I'm starting to be more busy. My busiest part of my practice now seems to be Nunavut.
Okay.
So before my children were younger, I mean, I wasn't able to travel because working up north requires
Yeah.
you to travel quite a lot. So my bulk of my practice was in Ontario, Quebec.
Mhm.
In our firm, we have there's associates in the firm, and so they also work Ontario, Quebec. One of our Quebec lawyers left us to go back in her hometown, so we're recruiting for the Quebec side.
Okay.
And so they take the bulk of the Ontario and the Quebec. And I have now, I mean, I've been practicing 24 years. I decided I needed something, a change. My kids are now all grown up. They still need you, but they can reach me by Zoom. So
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot more traveling up north. And when you go travel up north, there's circuit work, but they also give you assigned files, just like Legal Aid Ontario. Clients who make a request for legal aid, and then certain lawyers will be assigned certain files, especially the most significant charges will be assigned to lawyers. So I'm getting quite busy on that end.
Okay. And so you said that you needed some change. So is it change like in the sense that it's the type of cases, or is it just change, like maybe a change in scenery? You just needed to go, like discover a new jurisdiction. Are the cases different in Nunavut? I mean, they're still criminal cases, but I mean, are
Yeah,
they?
Yeah, no, I think change is important. I mean, I only do criminal law, and we can become. I mean, every case is different, and that's the great thing about criminal law. You'll
Yes.
never see this just because you do a lot of impaired, you'll never have two of the same type of impaired
Hmm.
driving files, right? And I think it's just the day in and day out. And COVID has also made I think COVID had an impact on all of us, right? And this and for me, I think I just reached a point after 15, 16 years. What do I do next? I think it's important that, and I think all of us, we're in our work. There's always, if you think that you're becoming stagnant, if you think they're becoming a little bit stressed with what you're doing right there and then, that's when it's like, oh, hold on a second, maybe a change would be good. And that's when I just happened to be at the right place at the right time and spoke to the right person, and then got the information about Nunavut, and then I became a member of their bar. Um, I started off by just doing circuit work where you grab your backpack and your parka and your big boots and you make sure that you're well dressed for, 3/4
Yeah.
of the season. And I would be sent on circuits. So you travel throughout the Arctic. And then as you become more accustomed and more aware of the way life works up there, and then the work is up there, then I started being provided with files. And now, like I said, I'm quite busy with different files. Are they different? There's Are they different? There's a lot of trauma and a lot of hardships up north. Oh, that was my phone. And one must be prepared for that if you're going to be taking on the work
I
up.
mean, that's the thing. I mean, like, that's a question that I have because, I mean, every area or jurisdiction has its own kind of culture and mindset. Like Quebec has its own. I mean, of course, we're all in Canada, but there are some differences and some variations depending on where you live. And I think Nunavut is a little bit different from Ontario and Quebec. And so, you as a lawyer, how do you relate to what's going on in Nunavut, and like especially if you want to defend someone, I mean, you want to know about their background. So if their lifestyle is a bit different, their experiences, I mean, that's how do you do that when you're a new lawyer to that jurisdiction and you want to defend yet the people there?
I think you have to be ready to go up north. I think that's the way you can
Yeah.
put it. You have to be ready for change. You have to be very culturally sensitive. You
Hmm.
have to be willing to learn. I have learned so much from working up north, but I'm like far from where I need to be.
Hmm.
And one cannot go with their big perceptions of how things should be, because I am invited to, I've been invited to work up north. That's what, and as someone who's invited, I'm an outsider. I'm not Inuit. I don't have a background. I'm a very typical French Canadian young, woman from Northern Ontario. I haven't lived up north. Everything is new to me. So you have to be very open. You have to be very mindful. You have to be very respectful of the fact that, again, you are invited. I've been invited, and I'm very humbled and grateful to be working up north, if I can use those words. I don't want to sound tacky, but it's very truth. It's what I'm saying. And you have to just take one client at a time, just like we do in our regular files. The client that comes and sees us is the most important person in their life, and has to be the most important person in your life too. So each individual has to be taken in the same way in reality, but with a different culture and a different background.
Right. And are you able to connect with your clients in Nunavut?
My favorite clients are the people that I have met in Nunavut.
In Nunavut. Why? Yeah.
I can speak with the client. I can have a client in front of me, and we'll have a chat, and I'll be preparing the client that you're going to jail. I'm preparing the person. I can't get, like, regardless. And at the end of the day, I would have to say the client always says, "Thanks, MJ." And I'm like, "Oh, hold on a second. You're thanking me? Like, I've just told you that there's nothing I can do, and we're preparing you to go to jail and whatnot." And regardless of the outcome, I would say that everybody just takes a moment and just like throws it back at me and says, "Thanks, MJ." It's like, wow, you're thanking me. And it's very interesting, because I don't know down south how many of my clients thank me after I'm joking a little bit, but life is slower in a way. Like, we're always fast. I speak so fast, and I've learned when I work up north to slow down, and to slow down. And I think I needed that at this point in my career. And I've met amazing people through all walks of life, elders, young people, adults, mums, dads, regardless, or people who are in trouble with the law. Family members come and talk to me. They just want someone to listen, and I think I'm there I do my best to listen and to give them the best representation, right? Because that's where we are also. We're criminal lawyers, and we just have to bring our best foot forward, best interest to our clients.
And do you have to, from your point of view, do you actually have to live in Nunavut or up north in order to do your job? I mean, obviously, I guess it could always be better if you actually live in the area, but do you have to do that, or can you just go and spend some time there without necessarily residing in Nunavut?
It's very interesting, because there's two different types of lawyers. So legal aid in Nunavut will have two different types of lawyers. They will have staff lawyers, and the staff lawyers are employed. So they're salaried lawyers, and they have to live in Nunavut. And then they have panel members like me, and I'm a panel member, so I live down south, and I'm invited to assist the staff lawyers on various circuits. So that's how I go about. That's how and I'm a panel member, so I'm asked to, can you take on a circuit in Sanikiluaq or in Sanirayak or Kingate? And I'm like, I'm available that week, so I'll be assigned to that to assist one of the staff lawyers to attend to one of the communities and help out.
And can you explain, Marie-Josée, what a circuit is?
Yeah, a circuit. Yeah, sorry, I'm using words here. I didn't know what a circuit was before I became a member. So what we do is, it's very interesting that several of the communities, court goes to the communities. So depending on the size of the communities, depending on the amount of files that are ongoing in the communities, court sits in there. So as an example, one community, the court will go 4 times a year.
Mhm.
So someone gets arrested, then their file will be adjourned to the circuit of, let's just say there's a circuit in March. So there'll be everybody arrested will be assigned or will be having a first appearance date on that circuit. So the court, it's interesting because everybody flies into the community. So the judge will fly in with the sheriff, with the interpreters, with the clerks. The entire court party goes to the community. The Crown attorneys will also attend, and the defense lawyers. Defense lawyers will usually go before because we'll meet with the clients before. So we'll show up maybe on a Thursday, on the Friday. That's just general. If I can, I'm just generalizing.
Yeah.
Then we'll meet with the clients. We have contact people from legal aid that work in the community, so they'll help locate our clients. And then we'll meet the clients over the course of the next few days. And then court starts on the Monday. So the court party will show up. Everybody flies into the communities, and then court is held. And after that, everybody flies back home. So that will be a circuit.
That's very interesting. It's very different from how we practice here in the East region. So it's very interesting to learn about that, Marie-Josée. But I wanted to ask you because, I mean, this seems to be, I mean, you have a very busy practice, and certainly when you're a member of several bars, your practice must be very demanding, and yet you do have children. And so I think the question on the mind of so many female criminal defense lawyers specifically, and especially those who are new moms or who want to become mothers, it's how do you balance all that? Like, first of all, how many children do you have, Marie-Josée?
So I have 4 amazing children.
Okay.
Yeah, I had my first child, and then I had I say my second child is law school. So I went to law school, and then I had my 3 other children after I started practicing.
Mhm.
I remember I look at pictures. So as people ask me, well, how did you do it with 4 kids and
Yeah.
practice all the time? And my last 3 are 3 and 3 years, so they're quite close together. And I look at pictures, and at one point I'm like, you had 3 babies, because one was 3 and one was 2 and one was
Yeah.
newborn. You had 3 babies. How did you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I think you just do it. You just do it. I mean, there's a situation, you have a brand newborn, like, what do you, they're hungry, you feed it. You have a trial coming up. Well, you prepare your trial. You just learn to balance things, and you just make it work. And it is very doable. It is very, very doable. I've taken phone calls on the side of the soccer fields because I had a call from the station. You just sort of step back, you take the phone call, you cheer on your child, and then
Yeah.
you make sure that you take on your notes. We've done it. We've done work. You bring work to the hockey rink when you're in trial prep. You've got your laptop, you've got your work, and you. Oh, I think that was my son. I think he just scored. You ask the parent beside you because you missed the goal, right? But you sort of just do it. And if anybody has young children, like, don't discourage. Like, having them young was possibly the best time that I had, was when the kids were young. And I remember preparing trials. They were all asleep by 8 o'clock, and that would be my third shift of the days when I'd be doing trial prep. You would sit at the end of the dining room table. The kids are now all asleep. I always say I had three shifts. So my first shift was like the waking up in the morning and getting them ready. And then often, I laugh at this, I would say the next 8 hours were my break, because then I would go to work. Okay.
Okay.
And then shift number 3 starts again when you go pick them up from daycare and pick them up from school, and then the organized chaos. But we loved it. Like, that was part of how life was.
And
So it is doable.
okay, and did that have any impact on the children? Like, how did they, from their point of view, do you know if did they enjoy the fact that their mom was a criminal defense lawyer working a lot of hours? How was their point of view about that?
You know what? I had them, first of all 4 of them, my last 2 ones are university. None of them are lawyers. And so I
Okay.
don't know what that means, if that's a message or not, but none of them are lawyers. And I would never impose, there's one thing I would never impose this profession on anyone because it is too hard. It is a very hard profession. It's very challenging. There's a lot of stress. So they choose their own paths. But they told me more than once that they were very proud, and sometimes of their mom and what I've done. And it was like I heard that, and once it was my daughter who told me, and I was like, "Whoa, you are okay." So I think I've taught them to work hard. I think I've taught them to do what it is that they wanted to do in life. I mean, how many times again I would sit at the supper table after it, like it's bedtime. It's like, no, mom needs to work now. So they've learned that you have to work hard in life. They know how much I love my job. I still love it, and I think that's the most important thing. I still love what I do, and I hope that that is instilled in them. Yeah, but it's when you hear them saying, you know what, like I'm really proud of my mom, what she does, and so it's like, okay, I guess that's okay. Yeah.
And it's important also to mention that you have your own practice, right, Marie-Josée? Like you weren't an associate in a firm when you had your children. You were running your own practice, and you were raising your 4 kids.
Yeah, you know what? I have to say that I am surrounded by possibly the best people on this planet. I won't give anybody their names because I don't want anybody to scoop them. No, you know what? I'm surrounded. It's funny because we always call ourselves the office family. Like I have my family, my home family, and I have an office family. So, like you know, whether it's been with Melanie, she's my associate from 14
Melanie
years.
Lord.
Melanie Lord, yeah.
Yes.
And like she's my favorite person on this planet. And you know what? We're an office family. We have with our assistant, we have students working for us. We really work well together. And I think that's the most important thing because this job is so difficult. If you're not happy with the people that you work with, you can't do this job. And to think that how often will I go sit down in Melanie's office, or she'll come and sit down in my office, or or other people's office, and we'll just sit there and shut the door and just like vent because we need to let the bad energy come out, because it is a very difficult job. We deal with difficult clients, difficult crowns sometimes, difficult judges sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult work, and we need to be able to surround ourselves with very positive people and strong people. So that's how I've been able to make it work. And if anybody's not happy, and I don't know if I can say something, if you're not happy with the people you work with, you have to find your happy place, or this job is not doable without that.
That's true. That's true. Well, thank you so much, Marie-Josée, for your time. It was very interesting to hear about your practice, which is a very unique, I would say, practice, and very different. And thank you for sharing your experience, both your family experience and your work experience. It was very nice to chat with you today. Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. It was a pleasure.
So, thank you, and have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.